All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining me. Today we are talking about building your authority in your business. And I actually kind of love this topic, and I think I'm going to do it more as interactive than just talking at you. That's the way I tend to teach anyway. But building your authority in your business, I think, changes your or your client's perceived value. One of the most important things I learned when I was studying marketing is perceived value, right? It's the value of you or a product or service or whatever it is. We all have perceived values of what it means to us, right? So when you're building your authority, it's building how people value you and your services and what they're willing to pay for it, right? So if I say to you, Rolex watch, what are some of the things that come to you when I say Rolex watch? You can either put it in the chat or you can just shout out and tell me.
Quality.
Quality, luxury, fancy, expensive, all the same things I have. It holds its value. That's true. People collect Rolex watches, right? They have the classic Rolex watches that still hold a lot of value. What about if I said a Timex watch?
Dependable.
Dependable. That's not a bad thing. Someone wrote cheap, practical, reliable. That's not bad value. That's not bad brand positioning, right? Affordable, practical, sporty. Now they both tell time, right? They both do a job, right? So I also love cars. I think cars is a great one. When you think of a Rolex or a not a Rolex, a Rolls Royce. What do you think of when I say Rolls Royce?
Luxury.
Same thing, right? Fancy, luxury, expensive. Um, and then if I said Ford, it's probably
Dependable.
dependable, right? Um, built tough. Those are our truck drivers. Right. So it's all perceived value. Um, so that's where I wanted to start about building your authority, because it's really about perceived value of who you are as a professional. And then your own perceived value, how you see yourself, is extremely important, because if you don't believe that you are luxury and expensive and worth it and valuable, you're going to have a really hard time increasing your prices or charging your value. Does that make sense? So it's perceived to your client, but you also have to believe that you are that person. And I always say, whatever you're doing right now, do it for your future self. Like, have a vision of who you want to be and do everything in those eyes of your future self. Like, does this serve my future self? And I think that's a great way of letting go of things that don't serve you too, by the way. So I wanted to open up with perceived value and what your brand really is. So what is the difference when I talk about, I'm trying to think of like two doctors, like I think of Dr. Oz. I'm trying to think of who are like famous doctors. Dr. Oz,
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, yeah. These are all brand doctors that have brand. Joe Dispenza, there's a good one. Very good one, Terry. There's one we all know, right? Is Joe Dispenza any different than another doctor, of course, a no-name doctor, someone in your local community, right? They both came out of medical school. They both trained the exact same way. And if I think about this, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, whatever they are in the world, right? Even college graduates or anything, it doesn't matter what you do, right? They all come out with the same education, right? The same training. But what makes one way better than the other? There are some things that, intelligence does get you some things. Sometimes you've created things, you've been visionaries in things, but sometimes, like Dr. Phil, Oprah found you first,
Mhm.
right? I mean, Oprah found you and that escalated your entire career, right? And I don't know what Dr. Phil charges per session, but I'm guessing it's a lot of money, right? The only difference is perceived value. He was recognized by Oprah. Oprah loved him. Oprah made him a star. And this happens over and over and over again. So a great exercise that I always bring clients through is recognizing excellence in their life in the past. Something that you've done that you've really excelled at. So it could be a client that you brought to the next level that had great return. It could be something in your childhood. Like I was a college athlete. I was actually all state in all 3 sports. And sometimes when I have to think about excellence or always being the best or being a leader, I have to go back to those days of, wait, there is evidence that I really am a leader. There is evidence that I have been the best of the best, right? There is evidence there that makes me who I am. So if I'm taking that and putting it in another field, right, it should be transferable, right? There's evidence that I'm good at something. So why can't I be good at something else, right? It's perceived value. And it's how you look at yourself first to be an authority. So all of you, every single one of you have a unique ability. That's only you. There's something about you that is an absolute differentiator than anyone else, right? I have a very unique ability. It's to see what others can't, right? I can literally see people, ask them what their vision is in life and build a business plan around it that makes everything thrive. That is a unique ability. It took decades to build that unique ability, right? Because I've helped people in all different industries, right? But it's mine. And I could literally give someone my business plan, but they could never be me, right? I'm a unique differentiator. People have tried, right? You should be able to give your business plan to anyone else, but they can never, ever duplicate who you are as a person. That's your unique identity, your unique ability. And there's such beauty in that because there's no competition. There's no competition with you out there because you have a unique ability, right? When we go look for doctors or lawyers or CPAs, we interview them, right? Their ability probably isn't that much greater than the next guy. There are differences. I will admit that there are differences, right? But their unique ability could be a specialization. It could just be that they have a bedside manner, right? I chose my doctors, my primary cares, because they don't look at a clock. They sit, they talk to you, they ask about your day, they ask about what you're doing in life. And that to me was important, right? But to someone else who might be in a hurry or doesn't like that, or is like, just give me a pill, that doctor wouldn't work for them, right? So they have a unique practice that they've branded and they've created based on their core values, right? So we all have this unique ability. And I'll give you a little, I can't think of the word. I was going to say like peek at something. I can't think of the word. That I literally learned in my own CEO series where I brought someone in who was like a leadership coach and they speak to my premium membership. And she had us talk about people that we admire. And if you don't know me, I love Oprah Winfrey. Like, love that woman. And there was a couple of, she made us pick three. I was Oprah, Jay Shetty, I forgot who the other one was. And oh, I know, it was some TikTok person. And then they're like, well, what are the what do you admire, right? So for Oprah, it was her authenticity, how she saw people for being people, not who they were in the world or their perceived self, but she was very authentic to me. And I went through a bunch of things and wrote them all down. And in the end, the exercise was you cannot see qualities in others that you don't already possess. You can't recognize them. And it was amazing because I sat there and went, oh my God. And now I call it my Oprah-ness, right? That is because that is a quality that I look at and see Oprah and just go, that's who I want to be in the world. She's an amazing individual that did a lot, still does, great work for women and just an amazing individual and very authentic. I loved that she asked questions that other people didn't ask. I also like, there's Barbara Walters and there's a couple, I have a vision board right here. That's what I'm looking at. I was like, who else is on there? And I had to start putting strong women up there. Because they had unique abilities and it's a great exercise to go through. If you have the time, I would encourage you to do so, of just recognize who you admire in the world, because you will find that they have the qualities that you have. They just brought it out in such a unique way that you recognize them. But that is the exact way that you can bring out your unique qualities. Exact way. So let's talk about that a little bit. It took me quite a long time, for those of that you have been in my circle for years, to look deep into who I was and stop playing small. Like long time to stop playing small and to own up to who I am and the value that I provide to my community, myself, even the people around me, and look at myself as a valuable person to others, right? So now I look at myself more as a beacon of light. And if I want to shine my light, what do I want to shine on others, right? What is the legacy I want to leave when I leave this world? What is the impact I want to go? I have my own unique vision statement, and I really implore you to create your own vision statement. It should just be one sentence. But my vision is to help other people bring their gifts to the world. Simple. Nothing about money. It's my vision is to help other people bring their gifts to the world. Your mission statement is how you do that. But your vision statement is that bigger picture, right? Very unique, very focused, right? And then I have to, in my mission statement, I have to figure out how do I do that, right? I can do it through individual counseling, I can do it through my membership, and I can do it through free stuff. And that's why we have a free level, because I know that not everyone can afford me or is in the position or even sure they want to, right? But if I gave out free stuff, I'm still helping other people bring their gifts to the world. And that's what was really, really important for me to do. And it took a long time for me to figure that out. Like, how do I do it? How do I help everyone? And then I realized it was a lot easier just to do free stuff. Right. So that's how I do it. You can do it any way you want to, right? And that's value that I have to put out there. So we're going to talk about value and your knowledge and how you get out there, because all of this is a part of building your authority. But the very first part is you have to own who you are. You have to. You have to love who you are. You should not be faking who you are or copying other people and what they're doing, because that's not you. You cannot attract people that way. You can only attract people being authentic, right? And I see all the time, especially on Facebook and social media, people that are copying other people. And most of the time, the people that on Facebook that are doing really good are extroverts. I don't know about you, but I'm an introvert and I tend to attract introverts. right? So being an extrovert is actually going to push people away from me, not bring people into me, right? Same for you. So if I copied some of those plans, even though they work for those people, it's not going to work for me. I can't pretend to be an extrovert and have that feel good and be authentic, because I'm just not. You know what I'm really good at? Talking to small groups. Guess what I do? I talk to small groups, right? Because that's what I'm doing. But that's what I love. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I love. And that's how I build my authority, because I know things and I share it with the world. You all know things and you need to just share it with the world. And it could be the littlest thing, but someone out there doesn't know it. And that could be the thing that attracts them. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
I know we have some branding people on the line here. I learned over time that posting on social media all the time and keeping to schedules and doing marketing and tons of email campaigns, it didn't work for me. I've had this business for 9 years. It didn't work for me at all. And I tried it 4 different times with a lot of different people, all different ways. And it didn't work for me. You know what works for me? If I feel like it, I'll go on TikTok. If I feel like it, I'll just write a big long post about me or, or something that I'm thinking about in that moment. And I'm a very big believer that people are attracted to just me and who I am in that moment, because that's actually me being authentic, not sticking to a schedule for everyone else. That's what works for me. You have to do what works for you, and we're all different. Some of you are really good writers, some of you are really good on video, some of you just do great posts, and that's okay. Whatever it is for you, it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, how are you building your authority? And for me, it's giving back value and information so people can say, wow, that person really knows their shit. That person is really, really good. Right? Connecting, I always think lifting other people up. They always say for women, like straighten out other women's crowns, right? Lift other people up. Tell them how amazing they are. I had this email, it was an email, it was actually a LinkedIn post. I did a post about, because I'm looking for my last co-authors of my third book. And I put a post out there, and this woman took it upon herself to write me this paragraphs of why that was an awful business idea. And she has no idea who I am, by the way. Awful business idea. And I always tell my clients to write, she was probably in publishing somehow, because I always tell my client to write your solo books and do this and blah, 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 blah. And there's a lot of ways that I could have answered that. And here, I'll even read you and I chose to say, I don't know if I can find her now. What's her name? Here she is. I'm not going to read it to you, but she went through this thing, and then she came back for another message. There are at least a dozen ways that book can be used profitably in a business, but this strategy is not one of them. And she was talking about having a collaborative book. Now, she knows nothing about me because I'm a collaborative person. I like raising us all up. And there's a lot of people that can use my influence to increase their own business. And I do that very purposely. That is why I do these books, because that's what I want to do in the world. She didn't know any of that. So I just wrote, thanks, her name, for sharing all of your thoughts. I wish you much success in all of your endeavors this year. Please reach out if I can support you in any way. I didn't have to go there, right? And you know what she did after that? She went and read my profile, because I can see. I was like, you had no idea who I was. I didn't hear from her again. But the idea is you always have to be who you are. Like, there's no point in me trying to defend who I am, what I do. I stopped that a long time ago. And I only do hell yeses, right? I don't have to explain to anyone who doesn't resonate with me why I do what I do, why I've chosen the path I've chosen. It's nobody's business. right? If you resonate with me, you're in my community, you're hanging out, and that's great because I do good things for good people, and I'm good with that, right? There's lots of people that introduce people to me. There's lots of people I introduce others to, right? I'm a collaborator. That's how I do in the world. So for you, building your authority has to be exactly the same way. You have to show up knowledgeable in your area, whatever that is for you. It could be all different types of things. I wrote some notes here. Focusing on a niche, I think, is really very, very important. And it took me a while, but you have to focus on something very specific. There's a lot of generalists out there. There's a lot of, I can help anyone. You probably can, but that's not how you want to look at your marketing.
Mhm.
You probably can, and those people will find you outside of what I call your avatar, right? They will find you anyway. But you have to know who you're talking to first and kind of find those communities, right? Find that you're talking to those people specifically, whatever it is, right? If you're a health coach, you probably want to be in threads and following people that believe in a healthy lifestyle, whatever that might be, right? If you work only with women, you probably want to be in women entrepreneur groups, right? If you work with everyone like I do, I find more of my people on LinkedIn. I don't think I've ever closed anyone on Facebook, but I have my community on Facebook. So usually as people find me, they'll join that group, right? So I kind of know what my client funnel is, but I know my niche is soul-led entrepreneurs. I know my niche are logically minded people that walk to a different drumbeat. That's who I attract. Lots of scientists in my world, lots of doctors, lots of healers, lots of therapists, lots of healers that want to help other people, but they're all logically minded. And I would say 90% are introverts because they're me. You get it? They're me. So you attract you. And in your world, you'll probably attract who you were 2 years ago, right? So as I started to do better in my business, I started to attract people that were more successful in business because I was more successful, right? And they're coming for help. And here's a little clue. You cannot attract someone that you cannot help. You can't do it. It is an impossibility. So if someone is attracted to you, it's because you can help them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You can only help who's attracted to you. But they won't be attracted to you if you're not the right person. I keep missing where the hell I put these notes. Oh, there they are. Sorry. Choose the right channels. That was number 2. So choose the right channels is I know that I meet a lot of people on LinkedIn. That's my more professional type of person. By the way, you should all have LinkedIn profiles. I'm not even on Instagram. I think for a while my staff was keeping up my channel. Once in a while I'll remember to put something there, but I stopped Instagram because never once has someone ever said, I saw you on Instagram. Never has happened. So I don't put any energy into Instagram. None of my people are, they might be there, but they're also somewhere else. I probably run into them somewhere else. I don't really get a lot on Facebook, but I don't do a lot of time actually on Facebook. For those of you that are connected to me personally, I don't do a heck of a lot of stuff. I do almost everything I do on LinkedIn and TikTok because TikTok is easy. I have a very ADHD mind and it's in the moment I have to do something and that's what I do. So TikTok has worked for me. And I can create a TikTok video and then throw it up there. In LinkedIn, the best way to do it is to always pose a question because you want to interact with people. A great way to build your authority is to interact with others in other people's groups that are asking questions because you can always ask in your own group. But it's much different than when you're coming to the help of others through other groups. So they could be entrepreneurial groups, they can be women groups, they could be health groups, it could be whatever your niche is group. whatever it is, answer questions for people, give your opinion. I spend an hour a day on LinkedIn just liking posts and making comments. Doesn't matter what it is, right? So people are saying, look, Camille's watching my stuff. And I literally do, because I spend an hour there, right? Because I know that my clients are in LinkedIn. So if I can give value or share their stuff, I'll do that a lot for members, or if I see you guys sharing stuff. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook. I will put it out to my community because I have like 7,500 people connected to me on LinkedIn. I have a community, right? I can do things like that. So you can do things like that for people too, right? The more you help other people, the more people remember you and want to help you back. 97% of my business comes through word of mouth. I don't know how you all found me, but someone probably told you about me. You probably didn't see an ad. You probably didn't see me on Facebook talking about my stuff. Someone probably told you about me or said, hey, there's this event over here. Why don't you come? Right? 97% of my people come that way. And you have to know that about yourself, by the way. Like you have to know where your people are and how they interact. But it's also giving value, right? You wouldn't show up if I didn't give value. Or you should, like I've been searching for groups and people to hang out with, and I'm testing different groups. I go for a while, I hang out and just are these my people? Do they get me or not? And if not, I move on. I find somebody else, right? Number 3 was provide value. Some of these are going to be very redundant. Provide real value. What's real value? I am good at business. That's what I talk about. That's the value I give, right? That's my niche. I help people build businesses in their lane of joy. That's what I talk about. I have a very specific way that I talk about things, right? There's a billion business coaches out there, right? Strategist. I worked a long time to figure out what to call myself. And I change it pretty much every other day on LinkedIn because I'm trying to get the feel for it. But I think I'm going to go with strategic advisor. I think that's what I'm doing because I feel like I can advise both on a business level and a personal level, because for entrepreneurs, our lives are so dovetailed. Like you have to create wealth in all areas of your life to be successful as an entrepreneur. So it took me a while, but so that's the value that I can give out, right? I give masterclasses, I do networking. I don't get anything from networking, but my job, my mission is to bring other people's gifts to the world. So by offering free networking, I am creating community of people that are bringing gifts to the world. And by them meeting each other, that's the ripple effect, right? They go on and build bigger and better things. That's my mission, right? So sometimes you do things that doesn't always directly affect your bottom line, but it's part of your mission. Does that make sense? That's where you're really giving value. Giving value to others is what makes you the authority, right? That builds respect. It builds a lot of things, not just your authority, but it builds respect, builds connections, and people see you as the one to know. If you have a very specific niche, it's talking very specific all the time about it, right? I talk to very soul-led entrepreneurs. So most of the stuff I talk about is who are you hanging out with? You know, how are you resonating your energy? How are you providing value? That's all soul stuff that my soul people get, right? If I went out there and talked about finance, I probably would not be attracting my soul-led people, right? But if we're talking, or if I'm coaching you, we're talking about finance because it's part, like your cash flow is a part of it, right? We're talking about your P&L statements. We're talking about your debt, but it's not what I lead with, because people don't really want to talk about their finances. That's not why they're showing up, right? That's actually mostly my people are pushing that under the rug. right? So that's something we'll work on later. But you talk about your very, very, very specific knowledge. If you read a lot of books, I read a ton of books, talk about those because it's showing other people what you read, and you can also attract people that read those books, right? I read a ton of business books, Napoleon Hill. Now I'm running a weekly study group in the premium membership because I'm reading it anyway. I love his philosophy of success. I live it. It's important to me. So if I go on LinkedIn and start talking about, hey, this is what I read on Napoleon Hill, and I'm always putting his quotes up there and Facebook, always putting his quotes up there. And I write a little thing on it, 9 or 10 people are going to write something that they thought about. Oh, I love that book, right? So if you're reading something or watch a certain somebody, like whatever it is for you, comment on it, write about it, because more people are attracted to you, right? I like Esther Hicks, and I will tell you on TikTok, when I don't know what to write, sometimes I'll just put one of her quotes up with a pretty picture. I get more followers doing that than just spewing my business stuff, right? Because most of my people, I would say more than 90% of my people know who Esther Hicks is. And if you don't, you should look her up. Because most of our people start our journey there. We follow a lot of people along the way, but we start our spiritual journey because we heard about this person. They're a big part of our spiritual journey, right? We can talk about books. How many people have read like Untethered Soul? Anyone? Oh, not as many as I thought. Yeah, Untethered Soul, great spiritual book. In the very beginning of my journey, someone said, hey, you should read this book, right? But there's lots of that. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, biggest one, I think most important thing. I'm reading this new one now that I'm talking about all the 10x is easier than 2x. It's going to actually be my next study group because I love it so much. But you know what? When I leave a TikTok, you know what I'm talking about? 10x versus 2x. That's what I'm reading right now, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be specific to your work, but you will be attracting people that are also doing what you are doing. Does that make sense? You probably read the same magazines, follow the same people, read the same books. That's who you are. That's who your people are. Does this make sense? So you can do that. I used to, I don't do it anymore. This book, 10 like business tips. This came from SCORE in 2011. It still sits on my desk. You know why? Because when I need to write a business tip, I just go to a page and say, oh, here's a page, here's a tip. Let me talk about that today. It's that easy, right? Or whatever it is. So that's a piece. I should stop for a minute. Any questions? Thoughts? How have you guys feel that you're building authority out there? Is anyone out there sharing a lot of value or finding it successful? What have you found to be successful? Anyone? You had to have found something to be successful. You're all still in business.
I find that when I do YouTube videos instructing people on things, how they can do something, like I think one of the best ones is when I show people how they could tie their sneakers to support their ankles so they don't mess up their knees. You know, a lot of people don't know that, but things like that, instructional
Oh,
things like
cool.
that are the things that get people to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that was a tip that I learned I was taking years ago. I took my son to a specific store to get him fitted for sneakers, and I saw the guy tying his shoes. I'm like, why are you tying him like that? He says, well, that's what this hole is down here for. I'm like, nobody knows that. Like, who tells people that that's what you do with that hole down there? And so, yeah, I realized so many people don't know that that's what you do so that you don't ruin your knees when you're exercising and your ankles don't move all around in your shoes.
And you
I
could
want
use that
that tip.
1,000 times.
Yeah.
That's
So
terrific.
I have had so many people find me on Quora, just like you said, Camille, about going on to LinkedIn and answering questions and stuff like that. Quora is a question and answer format that, I mean, a forum that you could just go and answer questions about what you're an expert
Anything.
in. And
Yeah.
I mean, every time I get a new client, of course, I ask how they heard of me. And the majority in the last several years has been Quora.
That's incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
So I did Quora a long time ago. I haven't done Quora, and I still get all of their, will you answer this? And I don't do it.
Yeah.
LinkedIn's starting to do that now, by the way. They're
Oh, good.
saying, you look like an expert in, would you like to answer this question? I'm getting that all the time now. And it's probably because I spend an hour a day just kind of, and I'll
Mhm.
do it on my phone, like if I'm out and busy. It's just like, let me just put in time to lift other people up. That's it.
Mhm.
You're lifting other people up. Haro is a good one too. Help a reporter out. HARO. I have written so many articles or done interviews. And then when you Google my name, that stuff comes up. So I can
Mm.
literally say, you know, been on Forbes, been in Inc. It's really just their answer and question thing that they've sponsored, but it works, right? That's another one, just to be an authority and help people out, right? It doesn't even have to be in your niche. It could be, you know, something on entrepreneurship, right? There's many times I help people that will never become a client. I just want to help people, right? And if I can help someone get closer to their dreams, that's what I want to do, right? So just being helpful adds value. And after a while, you'll answer a bunch of them. People will be like, hey, I know you. You know, um yeah, so it's good. Next one is engage your community. Your community can be anyone. It could be people following you. Do some of you guys have your own like Facebook communities? No one here? Judy does. Okay. Roman, you do your own Facebook community? It is hard to lead a community on Facebook. If you guys are all in my community, I'm not great at it. It's true. But I've also hired other people to be community people, and that hasn't worked either because they're not me. So you have to be really careful of what you give people permission to do. But I do have people, and you guys can all do it too. If you wanted to post in the community that we have valuable information about, as long as you're not selling, just about how to tie your shoelaces better. Like, I had this great avocado today. This is what I did with it. You know, whatever it is, that is very valuable. And I can tell you, your people are in our community. But that's what you want to do. You want to add value to communities. If it's your own community, if it's someone else's community, you're not constantly posting, I got this offer, I got this offer, I got this offer, because people will shut you
Right.
down. I'll also delete it.
Right.
But I don't allow people to make offers, but I watch people, and I have knocked people out of the community that just make offers and don't give value. But if you give a lot of value and then I see an offer go through, 9 out of 10 times I'll be like, you know what? 10 posts weren't offers, right? And that's how I kind of look at things. And that happens in most groups, by the way, right? If you're only going into groups to post your offers, people are
Right.
going to get a little numb to it because there's no value. But if you've added so much value to other people for whatever reason, not necessarily your niche, people will watch your name and just be like, wow, that's really cool. Can you help me? And that's why on LinkedIn, when people don't write good things, I'm always like, can I support you in anything this year? Because I don't know who I'm going to meet. I don't know who these people are most of the time. Right. And what will happen, because as you're building authority, people will start to get to know you. You will not know them, but they will know you. They will know your work. And when they are ready, they will reach out. You do not have to chase anyone. When people are ready, they show up. Does that make sense? You can
Mhm.
make offers. That's one of the things I'm working on is just, I don't always offer my services. And that's been a mistake that I've made along the way. I'm like, just make offers. People don't have to come to your offer, but sometimes just making offers gets people to show up or think about it themselves. But I've had people that have followed me for years and all of a sudden, like they'll join the membership. And I'd be like, I haven't even talked to you in a year. Yes, but I've been watching or I've been coming to stuff and now I'm ready. Great. Right? So it's kind of interesting. I just had a personal client that I think reached out to me on LinkedIn, did not know this person, met me in a different networking group. I must have been just talking about what I was doing because it didn't ring a bell with me. And she's like, you know, do you want to have a one-on-one? And I will almost always take a one-on-one with people, right? Because how can I help them, right? And we had a one-on-one, and she's like, I'm actually interested in hiring you as a you know, a personal coach to help me design a new business. I did not see that coming. Like, I had no idea. There was nothing in that profile that and I was just like, where did you hear about me? And it was not, I'm talking to other people. It's like, I've decided that you're the one I'm hiring and I'm ready now. That like floored me. But I was like, wow, that means that somewhere along the way, she got the value she needed and she was ready and chose me. I didn't even know who this person, she wasn't even on my radar. Right. So it's interesting how that works. And that will happen. That will happen for all of you. If you're really giving value out there, people watch and watch. I've had people watch for years, watch, and all of a sudden, boom, when they're ready, they will act. Right. In human design, I'm a generator. So all I can do is help. Right. I'm a responder. I respond when people need me. That's what I do. And when I owned that, it changed my life because I don't chase anything. It changed my life when I owned that. I can only respond when I see people need help. All I can do, and that's why I'm saying I should make more offers, because sometimes I see what people need, but they don't see it yet. And I have to know that they don't always see it or they're not ready to fix it. And that's okay. I was told years ago, you know, when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And I tell myself that all the time. It's not my job to get people ready. It's my job to offer them the assistance when they are ready. So you have that unique ability to help a core group of people that are waiting to know that you're the one they need to pick. You just have to put all of your intelligence and knowledge out there in every way. You can just be a helpful person. I help lots of people that have no idea who I am. That's okay. Right? I volunteer my time. No one ever asks what I do in life. And I'm okay with that. And sometimes I actually kind of like that. But there will be times where people know you and they'll say, hey, you helped me out, or I came to a class, or, you know, this changed my life. I have thank you notes all over this place, of people sending me little notes or saying something about, hey, I came to your class 2 years ago, or this was life-changing for me, or because of you, this happened. And it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome because you change lives. And it doesn't mean I made money off of any of these people. But when you're out there changing lives and creating value, that's how you build authority. Because people remember how you made them feel, not what you do. They remember how you made them feel. And eventually they find out what you do. Right? Eventually they will find out what you do. And the last part I have is build relationships with experts and influencers. So one of the things that I'm looking for now personally is like my next level goal is to start doing a lot of more global work. I do a lot of things Zoom. I think my membership represents about 12 countries now. I'm not even sure. But I want to actually start being paid to travel because I want to travel, right? I'm like, why not be paid for it? Way better, right? So I'm starting to connect overseas with leaders and influencers and communities that might be a future, but I'm totally open to what this opportunity looks like, right? Totally open to what this opportunity looks like. My background is in a lot of not-for-profit management, obviously strategy work, you know, and I just came in contact with this international, I don't know, queen, like who's building these, you know, sustainable cities for women and children all over the world. And I'm like, I could spend some time there. Like that would be really cool. That would be creating some incredible impact in my genius. My background is all organic agriculture and building communities. So it's kind of cool. So it's just, I just like, if you need help, she's like, we can't pay people yet. I was like, I get it, but I'm willing to help if you need it. So I said, I was like, I don't fundraise anymore, but I will make introductions for you. And I spent yesterday just making introductions for this person because they're doing good work in the world, right? So right now I'm looking for international things with no, I'm having a terrible time losing words that with no attachment to what happens. That is the most important part of building your authority, is not being attached to the outcome, right? I never know what's going to happen. You never know what post will go viral or won't ever go. I've never gone viral, and that's okay, right? Someday I might. We'll see what happens, right? You don't know. You don't know who's crossing your path, but there are a lot of influencers out there. There are a lot of high-level people out there that all you need to do is say one valuable thing, and it happens, right? Because I know Oprah's going to knock on my door one day and surprise the shit out of me. I know it's happening. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I am open to that opportunity, right? And just keep giving in the world, and stuff will be, you'll be blessed with goodness, right? Everything else comes to you when you give value and build your authority for others. But the first thing is you have to share your unique knowledge. You have to do it. All right. We have about 10 more minutes, so I want to open up to questions because I think we talked a lot about it, but if you have questions, I can talk more in a specific area. Anyone have questions? How, what, where? Nobody has a single question. Well, look at me doing such a good job. Does this make sense? Do you feel like you guys can
Yeah.
all do this?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Even if you took 10 minutes a day to go on any platform to help people, if you just reposted their stuff,
Right.
left a really nice comment, like it's so easy to do, is just lift other people up and provide value. And that's, you'll be amazed at how you become an authority in your area of expertise. Just leaving information or in posts. If you want to do regular posts 3 times a week, once a week, I don't care how you do it, you can do that too. But don't be attached. Every single one of them should not have a call to action or be, I'm selling this, I'm selling this, I'm selling this. Does that make sense? It's just like, hey, have you tried this? Or do you know this? Or I'm reading a book. Is anyone else reading this book? All right, seriously, no one has any questions?
I just have a comment. I love the idea of that you don't have to post about what you're doing, about what your business is, because I don't want to.
You don't have to. I follow people on TikTok. I have literally no idea what they do. They're just nice people. But I remember when my staff told me to get on TikTok, I was like, are you kidding me? I ain't dancing. I'm 56 years old. I am not dancing. And they're like, not everyone dances. Right? Like that's what some people do, but that's not how you'll attract and find people. So yeah, you can just literally talk about your life if you are so inclined to do so. I have 2, especially on Facebook, I have 2 profiles. The business one that you guys are probably all connected to, and then I have a personal one where I literally know every single person there because I talk about my kids. My kids are adults now, but when Facebook started, they were not. And I never post or talk about my children or my family in a business setting because it could be weaponized, right? So I don't do that. So I don't talk much about my life, but people have and are really good. Like, do I need you're a health coach. If you showed yourself jogging or doing sit-ups or working with a client, that would be normal. That would be a great thing to do.
Right.
Go ahead, Bev.
Do you have a LinkedIn business profile? And
No, LinkedIn is only for business. I would never talk about my personal life there.
no, I know, but do you have two separate profiles there?
No, just one, just a business one.
Just the business one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Facebook, what happened is when I started this community 9 years ago, everyone started connecting to my personal. So if you're connected to my personal, you were probably of my original group when we were still meeting in person. A lot of them are from New Jersey. They're still my friends. But I know every single, on my personal one has my maiden name. I know every single person. Like I know their families. I went to school with them. It's a small, but on the one that just says Camille Miller or Camille L. Miller, whatever that you guys are connected to, that's only business. Once in a while, though, my close friends will tag the wrong person and it will come up. Yeah. And the only thing I actually did on my Facebook one that was personal, and I did it on TikTok too, is when I travel, because part of my dream is traveling. So I did put that out there because I traveled a lot in this last year. It's part of why I work is to travel. And I talk about it a lot. So I do put it out there. This is why I work hard. It's so I can travel the world. It's so I can visit people all over, you know? So that does go up there, but no one else is in that picture, those pictures.
Hmm.
I just talk about me. Anything else?
I like what you shared, Camille, about the quotes. I do that a lot. I really like Og Mandino, his 10 Scrolls. People haven't read those. That's very impactful. And the Hester Hicks, yeah, Abraham Hicks, I post her stuff too all the time. And I have found that if you post a quote with a catchy photo, like beach or, you know, nature or something, it definitely
Yes.
does get traction. And even if they don't comment, it's just like you said, people will notice that and they will say things to you down the road. Like, I love that you're uplifting and you are sharing things that benefit me, that,
Yes.
you know, raise my vibration and raise my energy and help me with my personal growth. So yeah, just wanted to share that just to reiterate it.
Yeah, thank you, Judy. You're right. A lot of people watch, but don't respond, like don't say a thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're always watching.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very
So
surprising who comes out of the woodwork.
yeah. So sometimes you just want to be careful if you're spewing anything personal. But for a
Mhm.
long time, my personal life is very separate than my professional life. So it's really funny when I see people from the town I live in, like connecting to my personal side. And it's like, okay, now you're gonna find out what I do every day. Like, like it's such a different side of me than the
Yeah, yeah.
mom that was like bringing kids around because nobody ever asks. So it's kind of interesting.
Well, I always think that the personal side can be exposed a little more in stories, Facebook or Reels, because I mean, they're gone, right? And
Yeah, it
stories
could
are
be.
gone in 24 hours. So
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
can both be a little bit more bold there.
yeah. Anything else?
Great
I know we're
info.
coming up on the hour. Was this helpful?
Yes.
All right. The
Very.
fourth Thursday of every single month, I do a free masterclass. Let's see what my next one is. I didn't even write it down. Hold on. If you want to wait 1 second, I'll tell you what my next one is. Because I put it on this cute little chart. Come on. Uh, not time for my thing to be slow. And then networking is the third Tuesday of every single month. We always have business with heart. If you've come to that, is it next Monday? No, Monday the 4th is business with heart, which I do with Tyson and his. So the next masterclass is how to attract your dream clients, which will probably sound oddly familiar from this class. But it will. It's about being authentic. So we will talk about it again.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.